of the Grand American Road Racing Championship was run in the dry heat of the desert night in Phoenix as the Robinson Racing and Formix, Wiley and Scott Judd ran down the pack from behind to take the surprise win. But today, the series will run in the tropical heat of the South Florida afternoon here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Next, Hi everybody and welcome to Homestead-Miami Speedway for Grand Am's Nextel 250. I'm Greg Kramer. Joining me in the booth is David Hobbs. David, people are talking this week and still about that great performance by Irv Hare and Jack Baldwin.
Well, it was a tremendous run. They were put to the back of the grid and they came through there into the pitch dark of Phoenix and snatched that win away. It was a great run and it was no fluke because they're near the front end of the grid today.
Matter of fact, qualified in third, a great performance. Joining us in the pits once again, John Bizignano and Sandy Hang, and Biz has caught up with the Informix team. Biz?
Well, Greg and David, the story of this team can be summed up by the full-page ad that was taken by their entrance sponsor, Informix Software. It sums up both their Phoenix success and their hard work here in Homestead. The ad reads, refuse to give up, overcome adversity, work harder, way harder, win. That's exactly what they did by a great drive through the field, Jack Baldwin in Phoenix. But here, you're only 0.2 of a second off pole in third place qualifying position. A win here should be a little bit easier than it was in Phoenix.
Well, it's going to be a little easier because we're starting up front instead of starting in the back. But it's a testament to the team and the wonderful organization George Robinson's put together here. And we're with a little luck. This I'm not saying it's going to be easier, but we're looking forward to it.
Well, the ad says hard work is what it takes, and they know how to get that done. Again, working with me this weekend is Sandy Hang, who has another fast story from the back of the grid.
The fastest car in qualifying was sent to near the back of the pack. Why? An irregular airbox. But piloting Phil Crichton's Ford is a newcomer to the series, Oliver Gavin. It's his first race in the United States, his first trip to the United States. And we really have some Florida heat. How's a Brit going to deal with that here today?
Well, I'm not too sure whether it's going to be too much of a problem, but I suppose us Brits aren't used to necessarily it being this hot all of the time. So other cars reasonably easy to drive, so I think that it won't be too much of a problem, but we'll just have to see. I mean, this is my first sports car race, so like I say, we'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, good luck and welcome. His car is one of the three fastest. They are separated by 0.08 of a point. And we are proud to announce a new award for the pole sitter, the Informix Pole. And collecting that check is with my colleague, John Bizignano.
Mauro Baldi is one of the few drivers who has the bragging rights to winning the 24 hours of Daytona, the 12 hours of Sebring, and the 24 hours of Le Mans. He loves the banking around Homestead here. He loves his Judd V10, and he loves his Doran Ferrari 333 chassis. But one thing they might not love so much is all the competition surrounding you on this grid, Mauro.
No, on the contrary, I like it very much. It was very close. The qualifying, three cars very in 100th of a second. And I think the race will be very, very close. And that's what we look for. Very hard races, very close, and we enjoy that.
Well, an awful lot of confidence from our pole sitter. And now Sandy Hang with the fastest sedan on this Homestead grid.
The Saleen Mustang was quickest in the GTO class, but they had their share of frustration getting there. Just look at this car. You can see the cosmetic damage. What happened? Well, Ron Johnson was practicing and the throttle stuck. They got that fixed, but owner Steve Saleen is here now. It's kind of a poker game. We had a rain this morning, overcast skies now. Strategy, what are you preparing for?
Well, I still have my sunglasses on, so I think we're hoping for a dry and sunny race. But if it does rain on the deal, we're prepared to go to wet tires and a different setup.
Have you done testing in the rain?
Yes, we actually have a pretty good setup that we're happy with it if it does rain. So I think we're pretty well prepared for whatever happens.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Best of luck to you. We'll also be following another story here, Greg and David, and that is they've had a brake pedal that's been sticking, a little bit of flex in there. They've been trying to work that out, an intermittent problem, and hopefully that gremlin won't be back for this team today.
Well, Sandy, they continue to develop that brand new car. Those kind of gremlins are going to be part of the program for a while, but it sure is fast. And some of the other companies right by here at Homestead Airport. We'll be back for our starting line. Grand American Road Racing from Homestead-Miami Speedway is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine, and by Informix, your new way to west. You can see the big billowy clouds there, David. That's heavy rain this morning. One short 30-minute sprint race. This track is pretty green.
Exactly. That means the track is green, but of course it's pretty hot, so they're soon going to put some temperature into those tires and get that grip back.
Very soon indeed. In fact, the Grand Marshal for this great event is Hurley Haywood, the all-time leader in endurance wins. He's standing by with those famous words.
We're going.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Famous words indeed from a true legend in this type of equipment. It's time for our Informix starting grid, and a great lineup it is. That new Doran Judd on pole over one of Dyson's cars, the winners in Phoenix third, and Dyson Team's Lincoln machine in fourth. Then the Risi Competizione, a Ferrari, Intersport Racing, one of the Lolas, then a Chevy Riley and Scott and a Mazda Kudzu. Then we look at some of the Sports Racer 2 machines, and that Celine Allen, handily quickest in qualifying in GTO. We're going to show you the rest of the field as well. There's some of the GTU competitors, lots of different classes, and the American GT Championship as well. 5 different classes being contested. It's going to make this race very exciting indeed. And there, one of the faster cars, that hybrid racing machine, the Simo entry, sits with no time, and one of the American GT cars as well, starting well at the back of the pack. And and that's David Bernard. He's one of the last second drivers here in the Tedford Riley and Scott Lincoln, and they were not able to roll off in the grid, David. They're going to start dead last.
His first big opportunity in one of these big sports cars, so that'll be disappointing for David. We've seen him before in Formula 4 2000 and other classes of racing here in the States. He's from Australia. Let's take a look now at the track map there. You see it, 11 turns, obviously dead flat, no elevation changes. Going into turn 1, probably the fastest entry that you've got. You've got to be very careful going through 2 and 3. They're pretty slippery. 4 and 5, you've got to make a good shot out of 5 because you overtake going into 6. Make a good shot of 7 as well because another good braking spot is 8. Let's go on board now with Jack Baldwin here as he goes through turn 1 and 2. This is turn 2, tightens up a little bit. Really 2 and 3 almost turn into a big double apex left-hander. Then you've got this little right-hander. Now you want to come up well here because this left flick really is nothing, because you want to really get some speed up down here as you come down to turn 5, where you might be able to do some out braking on the inside here, but it's not really close enough to get just quite there. Turn 6 rather. Now turn 7. Another one where you really want to be right under the wing of that car, because as you come into turn 8, there's a golden opportunity to get by somebody before you get up onto the banking and those very fast back straights. Because unlike the circuit last year, they now go through NASCAR's turn. Our turns 10 and 11 would be NASCAR's turn 3 and 4, so very fast. By the time they get around to turn 1, they're really quick.
Speaking of quick, let's take a look at the pole sitters in each of the categories here. Mario Baldi, what a lap in that Judd Doran, a Ferrari that they took the V12 out, put the V10 Judd in, and once the development rules have cleared up, that car has proven to be awfully fast.
And the SR2 class there was right behind him, and the GTO not very far behind him with Joey Portugal. So we've got a lot of competition here with a lot of different classes, which of course makes it very tough on the drivers in these super fast sports cars when they come up on the GPUs, GTOs, and the AGCs. You've got to weave your way through traffic. It's not easy.
On board momentarily there with the Baldwin Hur team, that car that qualified third we were talking about, and we've got another on board we'll be showing you as well. It should be a good one. It's deep in the pack, but now pace car is in, and we are under the control of Mario Baldi, who's going to bring it around for the start of the Nextel 250 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We are green. Big move there by John Field in the Lola. Didn't look like he was going to be able to get it done. We're on board now with number 81, Mike Fitzgerald in the GW Motorsports, and there comes that car that was almost dead last, the number 8 entry, who had problems early, and that's got Chibot, but remember Oliver Gavin, the Indian Englishman, starting that car.
And Oliver already concerned about the heat, although the sun doesn't seem to be out right at the moment. Mario Baldi pulling away there in that Judd Doran car.
And a great start by that third car on your screen, the red Risi Competizione Ferrari. Ralph Kellner had qualified in 5th, and on the start jumped to 4th and has even gone around Jack Baldwin, and that now has put him up into a great 3rd place. There's John Field and that blue and red Lola.
Pushing hard there, pick up that 6th spot.
Already the Baldi, oh look at this, big move there. That's the TRW entry of Volt.
Trying to go down the inside. That's one of those spots I was telling you about, going into that turn 8 as they pull up onto the main straightaway here for the first time. Of course, now, instead of going back into the infield, they've got these very fast left-handers here. It puts a lot of heat in that right side tires. So these cars have really got to be set up for this. Of course, at the same time, they've got to go through those tight infield corners. So it's very difficult to set these cars up for these very fast. Look at the engine turn one. They're doing like 190 miles an hour. They go into turn one and go on the brake.
That's incredibly quick, and right now Mauro Baldi not only maintains the front, he is starting to open it up over the rest of the field. We'll be right back to Homestead-Miami. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway. Good look there at James Weaver driving the lead Dyson machine, the Riley and Scott Ford, sponsored by Tedford. And a big move there, Baldwin. He dove down to the inside of Ralph Kellner's in that Risi Competizione Ferrari, and David, I think he surprised Kellner.
I think he surprised Kellner. There's a lot who'd already passed him once. That was a great move by Jack Baldwin, absolutely perfectly executed into that turn 8. That's where we're going to see a lot of passing this afternoon as they now hit those high-banked NASCAR's turn 3 and 4. Like I said, putting a lot of heat into those tires.
There is a good look at young David Bernard from Australia. He, of course, had that problem that they had to actually push start the car to get it to fire. By the time that happened, the grid rolled away. And he is auguring up to the back currently, I think, running in the 9th spot.
Already up to 9th, and another of his victories coming up here. That's the SR2 car that qualified second. David's looking like he's going to try and make a pass on him sooner or later. Going through turn 2, 3, 4, and 5. This little left-hand flick down to 6th. The Lincoln engine should have just a little bit more grunt. He goes down the inside there. Great pass. Driving the SR2 car giving him some room. Cars looking pretty steady. The SR2 car just a little bit of hesitation on braking there. So David Bernard now up to 8th overall.
A little bit
good
loose.
run.
A little bit loose, yeah, on the SR2 car. Now, you mentioned how key it is to get out of turns 4 and 5 well, to be able to get a run. And obviously, with the engine, that's going to make it a lot easier. But as we take a look at that pass, I mean, that was executed perfectly.
Absolutely tremendously. That's the Nissan engine Lola there that he's overtaking. It looks just a little bit light going through there because the SR2 car, with these long straights, they want to run them pretty feathered out, so they may give them some downforce so they get some straightaway speed.
Go back to the front, take a look at Baldi, first overall and first in the sports racing category. We were watching Bernard a couple of years ago. We were watching Bernard in the USF 2000 car with both his rear wing. Put on an unbelievable drive and actually held on to the win after getting hit in that car.
At which point some of his competitors were getting protest because he'd lost his wing. So I thought it was pretty tight up. Look at this now. Weaver closing in on Mauro Baldi. Mauro Baldi, another ex-Formula 1 driver. Traffic starting to appear now. These guys are going to get that for the next 200 miles or the next 230 odd miles.
And there's the blue and yellow number 8 of Oliver Gavin, the young Englishman who is putting a lot of pressure now on Kellner's. They started almost dead last, David, and what a drive by Gavin.
Absolutely tremendous. And he did say at the beginning of the race that the heat might get to him, being a Brit, not used to this tremendous Florida heat, but he's certainly doing a good job in this early stage of the races, right behind Ralph Kellner now in the Ferrari. Losing a little bit of ground there up through the last turn 11.
He's maybe not quite as used to running the over. I think close.
Boy, that traffic they weave through there.
Well, he closes up big time under braking, though. They say that the Lola, with that sort of unique looking bubble on the nose, can do development and it handles the air much more effectively. Gives him better downforce, and that means better braking. And he's got a run going.
And a lot of down through those tight corners. This is again down to that turn 6. Terrific. Great pass there, down the inside of Kellner's. I wonder if Kellner's got a problem. He's sort of dropping back to the field just a little bit here. So Oliver Gavin picks up another spot. Now he's off in hot pursuit of the Judd Scott in front of him.
Well, right there, though, Gavin took a run. I think that lap car slowed up Gavin just a little bit. And Kellner took a definite run, but now Gavin gets the hammer down. We were talking about the downforce. That allows you to brake deeper and allows you to get to the throttle a little sooner. And if there's a flaw with the Ferraris, side-by-side battle for the lead, though. Weaver down to the inside of Baldi. David, they're heading down into that high-speed turn 1, still side-by-side.
Mauro Baldi. I mean, James Weaver had the line there, but Mauro Baldi went to the outside. Always a bit of a risky move, you know, because that's where the rolled-up rubber starts to accumulate. Although it is pretty early in the race, but Weaver still really hounding Mauro Baldi for the lead.
You talked there about getting through this series corners, and it looked like Weaver had a much better line into it.
Tried it, no, going to go down the inside at 6, that didn't work out. Now through this 7, can he come off here really well and launch himself down and make it a go at turn 8 there, this last left-hander.
A great battle for the lead here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Traffic going to play a role, and nobody wide traffic like James Weaver. Right back. We are back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and the battle for third continues to rage. And right there again to move, Oliver Gavin looks to the inside of Baldwin. They may have even touched.
Boy, that was close as they went through that tight turn 3. This little 5, the sweeper here, traffic in the way again. Traffic is going to play a big part in this afternoon's proceedings. It always goes down the inside of 6 there. Great move there by Oliver Gavin. And traffic involved as well as they go past Michael Cohen in that ADT car.
Coming at you here, Gavin, and the number 84 tried to move out of the way, give him a little room to run. That was the Comer Racing entry, and he did so, but I think it messed up Baldwin a little bit. He was thinking perhaps about a run. Let's go back and take a look at that pass. Talk about decisive.
Boy, it was decisive. When they came off 5, he was significantly behind as they came down to the 6. I think Baldwin actually got slightly unsighted by the 18 car there. Wasn't quite sure, but Oliver Gavin just hung right down the inside into 6. A great pass.
He just blew by him. Gavin now working some lap traffic. And there is Baldwin. And you know, down in pit lane is somebody who is intensely interested in this battle, wishing probably more than anything that he could be a part of it. It's the owner of the Informix, Riley and Scott Judd. That's George Robinson, and Sandy Hang has found him in pit lane. Sandy?
I see you're not in the cockpit. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better right now. Last week was a little rough, and I'll be back for the next race at Lime Rock.
David, he must have had some mixed feelings at Phoenix. To see his car win had to be great, but to not be able to drive, that had to tear him up.
Well, of course, he must have had some mixed feelings too, because Irv Hare didn't even arrive there till the Saturday morning of race day and just had a few laps on that Saturday morning before the race, and obviously doing pretty well here. Jack Baldwin at the moment fighting really well against Oliver Gavin, although that was a great move. You just saw Oliver. Ooh, traffic there, slowing car.
Nice point by, though, by the driver of that Sports Racer 2 category machine. And, you know, you're watching Oliver Gavin, if you're not real familiar with the name, in Europe, especially in Britain, of course, in Formula 3000, and I think it's Formula 2 in Britain, he has been an absolute standout. And, I mean, that's one step below Formula 1. The guy can drive.
He certainly can drive. Formula 1 was his target, but he hasn't quite made it yet. He's doing a good job this afternoon there. We see that battle for the lead still between Mauro Baldi and James Weaver.
Weaver got trapped a little bit behind that lap car, but that car did an awesome job of moving out of the way. Now Weaver's going to try and duck down underneath one of these cars. No! The door got slammed rather firmly by the number 52 Safina Racing BMW. That hurt Weaver a lot.
Alberto at the wheel of that car. Now he's moved over now and given them plenty of racing room. But Weaver still has to get by.
And here is a look at our 13th overall driver, comfortably first in the GTO category, Terry Borscheler. He had a pretty comfortable win in Phoenix. This is the new variant of the Saleen Mustang, much wider. It's a wide-body car. We heard earlier when owner Steve Saleen was talking to Sandy Hengdader, who talked about the fact that they're having some teething problems, but this is a brand new car. And I mean, that's going to happen to developers in the track.
Well, it may be a brand new car, but A, it's an extremely good-looking car, and B, it's a very, very fast car. Clear leader in the GTO category at the moment, and clear on the pole, and a clear pole sitter and winner in Phoenix just a couple of weeks ago. So this is a car to take seriously. And of course, Terry Borscheler is very used to driving this type of machine that does the race. Very best with it.
And he is one of the quicker, perhaps more underrated drivers on the circuit. Great to see him ride that, giving him all the notoriety he truly deserves. We'll be back at Homestead-Miami. Welcome back, everybody, and the battle for the lead continues to be very intense. There's number 27, Baldi, in the Ferrari Doran Judd, chased by James Weaver. Very close. Weaver staying with him in traffic. Oh, and a big lurid slide by Chris Bingham in the number 17 hybrid racing Ford Riley and Scott.
Yeah, that was a lurid slide going around that turn 6. So he's obviously got a bit of trouble with his aerodynamics or the tires going down. He's now about to be passed by Jack Baldwin, but this is a tremendous race for the lead here between two very, very, very experienced drivers.
That's
84.
Number 84 of the Comer Racing entry, and big problems at the front. Looks like they have made contact with something.
Big time contact too.
Big damage to the car. McNeil, the starting driver. And meanwhile, There's Weaver down to the inside. Now, we saw this earlier. It looks like Baldy's got the nose ahead again.
Boy, Baldy's good on the high side. Now, is it going to work again? Now, down to that turn 2, and he still holds on. That is a difficult thing to do, but Weaver is still there on the inside. They're coming to 2 and 3.
Now, last time Weaver went wide here, and he's doing it again. This might help him on the exit of 4 and 5.
Well, that 4 is not a good place to be on the outside, but I wouldn't have thought it was a great place to be on the outside going through 1 and 2, but boy, he seems to make it up. Weaver weaving around there behind Morrow Baldy, but he can't make it happen as they go into that turn 6. Wow, there's the 84 car. Very dangerous place there, right on the exit as they come swooping through out of 6 and 7.
Well, McNeil obviously trying to do the right thing, get the car off track. Now, Weaver showed the nose, but, you know, the Ferrari, if there was a weak point, and it was always a little light on downforce, as number 12, Kellner's, has brought the Risi Competizione Ferrari in. They say the Ferrari was a little light on downforce, but this Doran car, they modified the bodywork too. But this time, Weaver's got the nose in front.
Boy, Justin, they were passing some traffic as they went in. Wow, look at this, more traffic. Oh! Holy mackerel. That's one of the Sports Racer 2 cars.
Baldy looked like he saw the room on the outside and realized he could just keep her pegged.
Boy, you need to trust in the guy you're lapping there, because all he needs to do is look in the mirror and see you coming high, move up to help you, and then move right into the path of the other one, because they can meet the sandwich.
Kellner's in.
Got a problem here, so.
Oh, that's what happened.
Oh.
Double contact.
That's what I mean. There's Kellner trying to go between those 2 cars, which actually would have been a move that worked. They tried to help. Of course, the whole thing went horribly wrong. Unlike this, look at the way Weaver moves around that slow down the bottom of the track. My heart beating.
So the battle continues, and Weaver, speaking of hearts, his has to be in the throat with that move.
Yeah, cool.
But as I said, very few people are as aggressive in traffic as James Weaver, although Baldy is showing that he's willing to go, hammering on right with Weaver. But again, boy, Weaver getting out of the turns incredibly well, runs right up on Baldy, has good momentum and drops down to the low side.
Well, the Ford engine with a bit more capacity probably got more grunt coming off those slow turns, but when it gets to the high speed bits here, the Doran car, which was a Ferrari, now with a Judd V10 engine, seems to have a little bit of an edge, but as they come into that turn 1, it looks like Weaver's finally managed to pull out enough daylight to make it stick to those 1, 2, and 3.
Well, it wasn't as if James Weaver was going to give up. You can always count on that. But we were talking about the fact that Riley and Scott always known for great down. Kevin Doran and his team really worked hard when they put the Judd engine in that car to also do some work on the bodywork to try and generate a little more downforce without affecting the drag too much. And it seems to at least be better. But obviously, Weaver, coming out of those turns, is giving him some great launch.
Absolutely, tremendous launch. And the way he slides through there too. A lot of downforce on these Riding Scott chassis. Of course, James Weaver been driving for Rob Dyson now for many years. It must be 10 years now that he's been driving for Dyson. Great combination. They obviously get on well with each other. The number 8 car now coming up in the pack, looking now to get around Jack Baldwin for that 3rd spot overall.
Well, they've been swapping that.
Baldwin now really bottled up in some traffic there as they come up onto the back straightaway here. That meat and the sandwich trick only works every now and then. You don't expect to pull it up every time.
And number 20, David Bernard, brings the team, Riley and Scott Lincoln, down onto pit lane, and seems to be coming in rather slowly.
Rather slowly. It looks slow. Is he got a flat tire or something?
Up to over the wall. Car getting up on the air jack, going after tires. So pit stop, at least for the team car, to your new race leader here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Right back. Welcome back, everybody. Good battle unfolding right now in the GTU division for first place. Number 66, Kevin Buckler, in the Racers Group Porsche right there. Hangs on, but he's definitely got some pressure from Mike Fitzgerald driving the Pure Image Cal 4 Entertainment machine right behind. Good battle there as they head up back onto the bank, and you can see some of the quicker cars coming on. Speaking of quicker cars, we saw David Bernard down the pit. Biz, what's happening?
The mechanics have pushed David Bernard's number 20 behind the wall, and you can see the evidence of what the problem is. The car was absolutely full of rocks and debris. They have to clean everything out of here, especially around those all-important radiators and brakes before the car is safe to run. Tough break for the young Australian.
Tough break indeed. There's another good look at Kevin Buckner in that race portion. David, you run off here. You can see it's South Florida. It's dry. It's a lot of gravel offline, and boy, it can definitely do some damage.
Well, of course, they have those gravel tracks for safety. Not that they've got many here, but certainly you could pull that car below and get all out, get jammed in the disc caliper, and it's going to be done. And there's his sister car, James Weaver, still leading in the number 16.
That Lincoln Riley and Scott in the hands of Weaver has been very quick and particularly effective in traffic. As you see, he has gone around now the list of Doran Judd of 27 Baldy, and that puts him now into the lead. So James Weaver out front, Baldy in second, and they're continuing to work some of that traffic. You're going to see them catch it up here fairly quickly, heading into turns 10 and 11, or NASCAR 3 and 4.
But these two cars incredibly evenly matched. We saw that incredible dice for the lead just a few laps back when they took it and retook it. Around this corner, the last corner, number 11, it looked like Morrow Baldy had the high line, looked a little bit quicker, and James Weaver kept trying to go underneath him into turns 1 and 2. Finally managed to pull it off today. He's got just a little bit of a lead now, but boy, it's not much.
Well, you can see Weaver throwing that car around quite handily as well. Good look there at your leader in the AGT, the American GT category, the Daytona Mitsubishi Cat Country Camaro. Craig Conway starting that car. He'll be turning it over to Doug Goad. The pit stop's coming up, but great run indeed for that car. They've been fast all season long.
They have had a good run a couple of weeks ago in Phoenix. Very good run, in fact. There you see him swooping through the infield turns, and there's a car slowing down. It looks like the Ferrari number 12 of Ralph Kellner's. Obviously got some sort of a problem.
Came back up to speed. Oh, and number 74 in the pit. Pit stop starting to happen right now. Baldwin has brought the car, the Inframix entry, down into pit lane, and Kellner's slowing again. Looks like he got it motivating, David, but he is not running at speed.
Running right around the bottom of the track there. Obviously going to be coming into pit shortly.
And my first thought was perhaps fuel, but then he was able to get it going again, so you wouldn't think it'd be fuel. But there's Baldwin in the pits, quick tire change, fuel, and he'll be heading out right as Kellner's is about to bring that car in. Baldwin apparently, yep, he stays on board. Throws a tear off right there. Boy, that was a great invention to come along for open cockpit cars.
They certainly were a great invention, there's no doubt about it. So Jack Baldwin decides to make this at least 2 stints on this hot day down here in Homestead. Here comes Ralph Kellner into the pit slowly. Could be anything wrong. Out of fuel, out of gears, out of engine.
Now they're going after it. Mechanic taking a look. Oh, he may have a little off-course excursion the way they're looking at that spoiler.
Well, of course, earlier on he had that run-in with the 84 car when he did quite a bit of damage to the other car. Not so much to his at the time, but maybe it's coming back now.
Looks like he's got some problem at the rear of the car, certainly, as they, I don't know that they had the right tires ready.
They didn't put much fuel in either.
That was not a pit stop of precision, certainly. Apparently some crossed ideas happening as he brought that car in and then spending a long time on pit lane. Meanwhile, Morrow Baldy, second overall, second in the sports racer category, continues to try and chase down Weaver.
Well, Weaver pulled it away a little bit, but he certainly hasn't pulled away much. They come into that tight turn 3 and 4 section. It's long left-hander.
To me, like Weaver's car's gone a little loose. There's a lot more slide out of his car than Baldy's right now.
So as this track gets hot and wears these tires down, as you get offline, of course, you're going to start to find rubber, rolled up rubber there. You see some of it flying around in the top of the screen there. So it gets more and more difficult to overtake the slower cars as you go offline.
And Weaver just flips a little bit of debris on the track, no problem there. Kellner's continues to stay in pit lane as they take a look at the front end and the spoiler of that machine here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Pit stops are coming. Gavin bringing the number 8 in. We'll be right back. Grand American Road Racing continues at Homestead, and there is the number 8. That is the Berkeley Consulting Philip Creighton Motorsports entry. Oliver Gavin, the starting driver in that car, and they made the stop and still were able to come out with Jack Baldwin, and that is still the battle for 4th. These two, even with stops, David, have been going incredibly quickly.
Absolutely incredibly quickly. Of course, going quicker than ever now. They've got some nice new tires on, and of course, all set for another whole stint of gas here. So a very close battle here for that 4th spot. Jack Baldwin put on a great display. Jack Baldwin, of course, a GTU winner in IMSA racing way back, you know, when I was still a young guy. And here he is, still battling it out with the best of them.
Former Trans Am champion as well. And, whoa, that's the number 5 BASF Home Improvement, Celine Allen Speed Lab Mustang, and it looks like Borchelor just got it wrong, looped it in the infield.
Boy, oh boy, and he's got a huge lead in his class, so I don't know what happened. Something may have gone wrong, may have gone involved in traffic. And of course, getting offline, there's that roll-up rubber I'm telling you about. It's starting to collect now, so once you get offline, you're in big trouble. Here's that battle of the fourth, still going on, hot and furious between Oliver Gavin, the number 8 car, and Jack Baldwin.
We talked about that Saleen Mustang, and it's an ongoing development program for a brand new car, and so you've got to keep running hard, I would suspect, to really figure that car out. Maybe that caught him out. There's Weaver, who continues to lead, and it looks like he's opened it up just a little bit.
He does, weaving his way through some traffic on the back straight, coming into these very fast turns, 10, 11, around some more traffic. There comes Morrow Ball. Morrow Ball is just about to go low under one of those cars.
Boy, this is a tough decision right there. And here's the battle for second now in GTU. That again is the 66, the Racers Group, Kevin Buckler driven Porsche, and the 81, the Pure Image California Entertainment entry of Mike Fitzgerald. Good look there at Butler, and you just saw in front of them both was the leader, I think, in GTU, the number 80 Team G&W Motorsports Breckenridge Racing Corp entry, John Morton, getting it all wrong and getting off track.
Wow, so John Morton now lost the lead in that GTU class, giving it to Kevin Buckler, the 66 car. On board now in the 81 car, the third car on the line. Up the front there's John Morton going to turn 1 and 2, and then whoops, starts to get away from here as he goes into turn 2, slides up onto that infield. So now our number 81 car has jumped from third to second, right in front of him, the 66 car. So those three cars were very, very close together.
Great battle in GTU, and what you had commented on earlier apparently coming true as they got a little wide on those marbles. The track started to grease up a little bit. They caught Morton out. Driver of pretty vast experience, so you know this is a tough track right now.
Very vast experience.
So Buckler leads it, chased hard now by Fitzgerald, and up
Boy.
and around them both comes one of these sports racer category, the overall lead cars, and running very quickly indeed.
Here comes Terry Borchler too in the number 5 GTO car, making up some time after his spin. He goes past the two GTU leaders. Boy, those two GTU cars are real close together. Look at Fitzgerald now right behind Buckler.
Very close indeed. That number 95 sports racer entry was the TRV Motorsports Supreme Exhaust System, Ross Bentley behind the wheel. But this is the battle on the track right now. Closest battle in class, and it is for the class lead. Buckler continuing to fend off Fitzgerald. And for Kevin Buckler, this series is absolutely what the doctor ordered. He's always been very fast. They've got a great team. Been a little short on budget sometimes, and this is an opportunity he is able to shine, show what that team's really capable of, as is the pursuing G&W Motorsports entry. They're putting on an awesome display.
Terrific. And being closely followed by one of the Sports Racer 2 cars, which is having a job getting around them.
Looking in, looking out, that's the number 62, Rich Grubb, starting the Team Spencer Motorsports Trent Shoring Services, Mazda Kudzu. Now he gets the nose down inside the 81.
This is just what those two GTU cars don't need, is a potentially much faster car muddying the water in their battle. He seems to have got around. Well, he only just got around. Boy, look at the speed of that GT3R on the straight there.
Very quick indeed. Meanwhile, rocketing by everybody comes Oliver Gavin in the Berkeley Consulting entry. Chased there by Baldwin. Yeah.
Right behind him is going to be Jack Baldwin. So, wow, getting mixed up with some traffic there. That opened those two cars up a little bit.
And there is Ross Bentley, the tremendous Canadian driver, bringing that number 95 entry, the Supreme Exhaust System Racer Parts Wholesale. That's a Chevrolet, Riley Scott. Down in the pits, he'll be turning it over to team owner Tom Bolt. See the driver change taking effect right there. And that really is a case of teamwork in the pit lane, isn't it? Not only with the crew, but with the two drivers.
Ralph Callan is out again in the number 12 car after that long stop. They were obviously fixing some body work. He's going to be very careful here. He doesn't derange that body work again, picking his way through quite a lot of traffic there.
You've seen he's fallen back to 23rd overall, so the job becomes more difficult. The pits are getting busy. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway, and as you see, race leader James Weaver in the pits. Looks routine, driver change. Not happening. They want to keep James in, but it looks like they went after just tires and fuel.
That looks like a pretty good stop.
Weaver has been lapping very quickly indeed. Now, as you come out now with new tires, with the track greased up and some of the marbles building up, what does the driver, David, have to be working on mentally right now to keep that car underneath him in the open line?
Well, it's just that first lap. You've really got to be careful because those tyres really are cold. But it's a pretty high ambient temperature today, so that certainly helps get them up to temperature quick. But unlike Formula One and some other types of racing, you don't have tyre warmers, so it's just something you've really got to be aware of when you're coming out of the pit.
And there is our leader right now in the Sports Racer 2 category, the number 6 ACI Source Technologies. That's a Nissan Lola being started by Brent Sherman. He'll be handing over to Gary Tiller. And this Sports Racer 2 category, this is its second race. It debuted at Phoenix. And it's smaller engines, smaller tires. They're restricted in terms of power, but
right
much lighter.
Right behind the driver's head there is the air restriction. You can see how small the air intake was for the engine.
And number 63, the Downing Atlanta team, the Croctile entry in. And Steve Pelkey, Trans Am driver the past couple of years, is obviously doing some sports car racing as well. He's going to be stepping out, turning over to Downing. And number 37, the Intersport Racing Banana Joe's Lola Ford of John Field has put it into the gravel trap.
Well and truly into the gravel trap, sitting there waiting for help as Oliver Gavin brings the number 8 car back into the pits.
And this will be their second stop. I would suspect perhaps we'll see a driver change in this one as he turns over to Scott Schubert. Hits the marks and everybody over the wall. There's the refueling. Oh, a little problem getting the refueling rig unhooked. And indeed the driver change is happening. Schubert will be getting in. Again, looking fairly routine. They had stopped not that long ago and apparently just went with tires and fuel.
I guess they decided to take the advantage of this caution period to change the drivers for his longest stop, of course, required. Now it's time to do it while the traffic's going slow. And in fact, here comes James Weaver in again.
I would suspect for the exact reason you just mentioned. With the yellow, they can come in, get the driver's change completed and not lose anywhere near as much time as they would under green. See if we see Andy Wallace coming out. Oh, looks like Weaver's staying on board. That's true, and it would be John Paul going on board anyway, but Weaver stays in once again. That surprises me. And meanwhile, Scott Schubert now on board the number 8 Berkeley Consulting Ford Lola and back out on track. And again, you can see the record on course is Clever full course yellow to get John Field's machine out of the gravel.
James Weaver must be practicing for the Ironman here, so he's obviously decided to fuel up in this caution period, so he's going to do another full stint after having done one full stint in the course. James Weaver determined to stay as much behind the wheel as possible. There's the John Field's car. Oh, got it going under its own steam, but it'll be like the 20 car we saw of David Bernard. It'll be absolutely full of that gravel. It'll be everywhere, and now it's all over the track. That'll be great for the first guys who arrive on the scene. Look at it all pouring out from the front wheel arch as it is.
Wait till he hits the brakes hard for the first time. That'll all dump out right onto those tires.
So yeah, if they haven't got the caution flag, guys aren't working a good job. That's a good by the all that gravel is like roll the ball.
And Baldy going very slowly as well. Of course, we're under caution, but we wonder if he may not be making a move down toward the pits. In fact, that's exactly what he's doing. So Mauro Baldi, with the stop by Weaver, back in the lead, and Baldi bringing the car in. Watch this stop, see if they go for the driver change. They do. There's Didier Taze helping Baldi step out.
Didier Taze also very experienced in this type of racing and in this team too.
Yeah, he's driven with the Duran team in some form or another for a long time, and with Freddie Lienhardt's support through the Lista company, and Lienhardt doing some driving on occasion. In this one, he stepped out, and they brought Baldi in with Taze to hook up with his team.
Didier Taze, of course, put me off skiing for life. We went skiing in Courchevel in France in like 1985, and I tore all the ligaments in my left leg and hardly been able to walk since. Didier thought it was excruciatingly funny at the time.
Oh, I'm sure. There's the number 81 GTU Porsche GT3R, who's been in that battle for the lead in that category, affecting their driver's change. Darren Law, who is no slouch at all, getting behind the wheel, replacing Fitzgerald, and Didier Taze takes that car back on the track.
You were talking about going out on cold tires. This is when you got to be real careful, when you're the new driver, so you have no idea what track conditions are like.
That's where the experience of a Didier Taze comes good. We'll be back at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Welcome back to the infield road course here at Homestead-Miami Speedway as we are looking for the green. Lights out on the pace car. It ducks down into pit lane, and James Weaver is going to lead the field around for the restart. You see Taze in second, then the Celine Allen Speed Lab Mustang leader in GTO right there, and we are green. We are green. So Weaver takes the lead. And as we watch Weaver at the helm of the Lincoln-powered Riley and Scott Dyson entry, let's take a moment and take a break from the action, take a quick glimpse behind the scenes of the Dyson Racing team, and talk to some of the team's mainstays, including the patriarch himself. Car number 16 is the Rabbit of the Dyson stable, but their sister car, number 20, gets a lot of TLC as well. And why not? That's where the boss, Rob Dyson, jumps in from time to time. A hands-on driver, Dyson's racing philosophy centers on stability.
We've got a very stable team. I mean, all the guys, you know, we're all together. We've been together for a long time. Pat Smith, my crew chief, and I have been racing for 26 years. So when you get that kind of stability, I don't think it's stagnation. It's more stability, and I think that helps. Plus, I think we've got great drivers. I mean, James is our #1 driver, and then we bring Elliott back. He's won a couple of championships in the past 3 years. And it'd be nice to win a couple more championships, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Dyson's team thinks championships for a very good reason. Dyson's drivers won last year's Can-Am Championship and the 97 and 98 World Sports Car titles. One of the keys to the Dyson success story, don't overmanage your drivers.
Well, I think that it's a different way of working things on the Dyson team because they take an attitude of kind of a laid-back attitude where everybody does their job well and let everybody else do their job well, but don't try and put any pressure on anybody. I think that this is the team I've had the least amount of pressure to go fast or do well of any team, but you're still inspired to do it because of the way the team works.
Dyson's racing hardware is traditionally second to none. He'll be the first to tell you that hardware is just the tools of the trade. It's the people that make the difference.
Well, I think the whole team is basically one big family. I know Pat's been here longer than anybody, but I've been here 10 years and everyone's been here longer than I have. You always see the same faces. Consistency really pays off in this type of racing.
Continuing on that longevity theme, 20-year Dyson vet Pat Smith has been responsible for churning out fast, reliable cars and giving opposing team managers a lot to think about.
For Dyson, I would say continuity of the team. Pat Smith's been there for 20 years, I reckon, or maybe longer, and same old guys every year, so you've got good continuity, good equipment, good drivers.
Now, normally you'd see the subject of our feature manning his pits, a la Roger Penske or Richard Childress, but Dyson had to fly back to New York for some rather pressing business. After all, when you're a businessman, owner, driver, sometimes something has to give. But with that legendary stability and continuity, this team continues to do quite well. Thanks very much. As you can see here with a lead, although it's a little bit more pressing as Taze has turned the wick up ahead.
I just have to get James Rerun to Kevin Doran there, the owner of the 27 car, talking about same old guys.
Yeah, once James hears that, he'll thank the afterburner.
Absolutely. There's that terrific battle for the GTU honors now.
And that is that number 80, one of the Breckenridge Racing Corp GW Motorsports cars with Mort. Remember, he looped it and has fallen back into second. Buckler right there in the racers in third. And right there now is the new leader, the Pure Image California Entertainment Porsche, also from GW Motorsports. Darren Law now behind the wheel.
There's quite a change there in those top 3 GTU cars, but awfully close together, all 3 of them. In spite of Morton spinning. Traffic going through them there. Well, that's one of the troubles when you're driving something like a GTU car and you've got your own really intense battle. These cars handle pretty well. They go pretty quick down the straight. We saw they're almost as quick as some of the SR2 cars. But at the same time, as the traffic comes weaving through, you're supposed to give them a bit of room. It's very difficult to do when you've got your own very important battle going on.
Well, those SR2 cars on the infield, very agile and fast, but when you come up on a battle of the GTU cars, you have to give that up, and then when you get up onto the straight, obviously those GTU cars with some pretty serious grunt, as we've seen, able to hold their own. It's got to be a bit frustrating sometimes for the SR2 drivers.
It is. It's frustrating for everybody. Then meanwhile, James Reroy, somebody comes whistling out the ether at 130 miles an hour more than you, and you've got to sort of try and make room for him.
Continuing to watch some of that ongoing battling right there, 66 Buckler. There's exactly what we were just talking about.
Great case in point there, the SR2 car and the GTU car, almost level pegging it down that back straight.
Nice wide shot as we move in. That is Weaver continuing on point with Hayes now in second. As we continue to run hard here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Weaver leads, but Hayes like it bad. We'll be right back. Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, good look right there at the car currently running third in the new Sports Racer 2 category. That's the Snow Schumacher Racing Nissan Lola And again, this is only the second weekend, a second race for this class of car, but everybody's very excited about it. You can buy one of these cars for just a little over $200,000, and it's turnkey. It is ready to go racing. And with the growth possibilities in this class at that kind of a price, that's a heck of a deal.
Absolutely. I'm going to go out right now. As soon as we finish here, I'm off to buy one.
And you would excel, David. I saw you drive the Simon Angelo at Road America a couple of years ago in the big Can-Am reunion, and you were having way too much fun then.
Absolutely, it was having too much fun, which is why I haven't driven it since.
Good look there at Ron Johnson, who's taken over the controls of the Celine Allen Speed Lab BASF entry from starter Terry Borchler, who had that quick spin earlier on, but that car is running pretty much uncontested right now in GTO. Very strong run, up to 11th overall. That means he's racing with some of the sports racers.
Having a very good run in spite of the spin. They're leading their class by miles. So this car looking like a real race car and apparently driving like one too. I mean, it looks very good going through this fast turns 10 and 11 here down at Homestead Speedway.
Well, when they started the Celine Allen Speed Lab project, the car was basically one of the street Celine Allen cars that they were working on. This is a full-out GT category car, and you can see it's a much wider track. It's much lower to the ground, and it is a purebred race car, and it is definitely showing that development coming along nicely.
There you see the class summary for the GTO cars.
Ron Johnson driving now. He started with the team a few years ago. In fact, won a World Challenge Championship for the team and has been with it for a long time. And of course, Terry Borchler came up through the street stock categories and proved to be an absolutely superb talent. And as we talked about earlier, that team situation right now with the support of that program gives both these guys a great opportunity. But Weaver up front continues to just simply fly. There's a class summary right now for the sports racing division. And Weaver continues to lead. But again, Robinson racing with the Jack Baldwin, and of course Herb Hare will be driving in place of Robinson again this weekend. And there's a nice move by Weaver going by one of those GTU category cars who apparently waved him by and he gave him a thank you.
There you see the number 12 car. Schiattarella at the wheel, I think now.
Still Kellner's. It's got
Oh,
that.
It is still Kellner's, yeah. Well, so he's doing a long stint too. And a fairly adventurous one too. A big belt into that car earlier on, put the other guy out of the race. Then he came into that long stop.
Here's that battle for second, and GTU continues to be absolutely fierce. Number 80, Morton, trying to hold off Buckler in those two cars. Morton in the number 80 right there, Buckler in the black and white 66. And Buckler has shown his nose a few times up on the banking.
Neck and neck down to that turn two. That's where John Morton spun off. He missed that gravel trap. He was pretty lucky there. He stayed on the grass when he spun and didn't get stuck in that gravel, so allowed him to pull back onto the track real quickly, and obviously to great effect. He's got around the 66 car.
Right behind them is the 98 GTU machine, the GT Technologies Porsche of Kevin Wheeler and Randy Popes, but a lot of smoke out of the back of that car.
It is. Randy Post, another guy who's very underrated. Ooh,
that looks
a
like
lot
oil.
Of oil. My goodness me, that car's got a short run to go, I'd say.
Well, whatever it is coming out rather frequently.
Yeah.
Anybody behind has got to be very concerned, get a tire in that. It doesn't seem to have affected the speed much.
It will do.
Of course, they say right before it completely lets go, it tightens up and builds great horsepower for a few seconds.
Is he pulling off lines? Does he know it's happening? I don't think he does.
I think he just ran a wide line to let the Ferrari through. Now he seems to be slowing.
See, the Ferrari even against those GTU cars. It wasn't a real complete blow-by, was it?
That car obviously struggling right now.
Not sure who's at the wheel, whether it's Kevin Wheeler or Randy Post, but the 98 car, unless they just stopped and they overfilled it with something.
Yeah, Wheeler started the car.
But it seems to have stopped coming out, whatever it was.
Now, you're right. If it's an overfill situation, that's a good sign. If it wasn't an overfill, that's a bad sign. A little puff here and there.
There's
and
the
right
8
behind
car
him,
coming up, That's Scott Schubert in the 8 car.
Quickly worked by.
Very quick.
Keep an eye on that 98 GT Technologies Porsche. Ah, and there it is. We get official word now. Race control, a black flag as that car was dumping on the track. And, of course, the track already hot, greasy, marbly. The officials want to bring that car in and see if that is something that can be taken care of or whether it can be done for the day. Up front, James Weaver continues to just hammer around the track. He continues to lead overall. Welcome back to the Nextel 250 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm Greg Kramer along with David Hobbs, John Bizignano, and Sandy Heng. There is a look at the number 52. That's the Safina Racing eTravelServe.com BMW. And they have made a driver change. Josefina started the car. Whoa! Scooter Gable got in, but that's the number 66 entry. Buckler started it, but now Philip Collin driving in the 37 of John Field, the Banana Joe's sports racer machine. And I don't know whether they were both, one was off track and avoidance of the other, or whether it was a coming together, but both involved.
Again, going into that tight turn 2 area there on the track.
David, I don't see any damage to that racers group car at this stage.
It looks pretty undamaged. So Philip Collin, who's only just got into the car, has now got his battle. Really going to have to battle to get back up to the lead of that GTU class. Tremendous battle going on between that car, the 80 and the 81, all through. John Morton spun out of the lead in the 80 earlier on. This car took the lead, then the 80 car took the lead. There is the 80 car. And there is also James Weaver, our current leader, out for the long stint of the day.
Boy, he has made 2 stops, stayed in both times as they took on fuel and tires. And Weaver, as you put it earlier, going for the Ironman distinction here. And I mean, he loves nothing better than to just stay out and drive. You got to think they were hoping to build up a big advantage here, but Didier Tays is just simply not allowing that to happen.
He's right behind him there. All these sports races now with the lights on, so the GTU cars and the SR2s are aware of them coming up. Look at that gap. It's just absolutely nothing between Weaver and Didier Tays. Weaver, I would think, it's been hot. At this stage, might be just starting to feel a little bit rough around the edges. And there's the 74 car with Hare behind the wheel now, I think.
I think that's still Jack Baldwin, I think.
Is it really? Jack Baldwin still another one going for the Ironman. Mighty Jack Baldwin did the Ironman.
Now, of course, Baldwin, great racing heritage as well. And he's really, when he hooked up with George Robinson and his team with this program, they have there's really been a rebirth with them. And again, you can see those restrictors right in the air box, right behind the driver's helmet there. That is the magic of current sports car racing, restricting horsepower to equal levels.
Because obviously all different engine sizes, engine types, 4-valve, 2-valve, push rod, all have different air restrictors, and of course the air restrictor is adjusted to the size of the engine to try and keep the horsepower in the various classes roughly equal. Very, very difficult job to do, but they're trying. There's the 37 car, had that spin.
Yeah, Field making his way down into the pits. Or he's leaving the pits.
It doesn't look badly damaged either.
No.
Maybe they just had a bit of a kiss out there and spun him off into the grass. Luckily, neither of them got involved in the gravel trap, so that car doesn't too bad either. But obviously lost some valuable track time and position.
I would suspect he did go off track, as we saw. He must have at least pitted and wanted to get some new tires on. And with being off track anyway, why not pit, get tires on, get that junk on the old tires off, and fuel up and go after it. Lost a lot of time, however, as that all happened under green.
Absolutely. If you're going to do that sort of thing, you want to at least bring the yellow flag out for yourself so you can do some repairs to it.
Field's going to get that car back up to speed. The Banana Joe's, that's a Lola with a Ford engine on board. We were talking about those different engines. Meanwhile, Weaver continues to lap. That's the Lincoln-powered Riley and Scott Ford, so different chassis. And, you know, one thing about the restrictors, it might limit the horsepower to a certain figure, but each of the engines have different torque, different drivability characteristics. So on certain tracks, a torquey engine might be more effective. On other tracks, an engine with a little bit more high revving would still have an advantage. It's just the outright horsepower.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way these restrictors are designed to try and make the horsepower and the torque comparable. It's a difficult thing to pull off, but they seem to be fairly successful here as the Judd-powered V10 engine car of Doran there, driven by Didier Tays, just inches behind at this stage in the race. So that obviously these power outputs are very comparable, and of course the chassis are all different and the aerodynamics are very different. The Riley and Scott, as we mentioned earlier, has got a lot of downforce. Supposed to be not great in a straight line, but obviously not bad here either.
And the number 18, one of our American GT category cars, the Levy Racing Enterprises Camaro, started by Mike Cohen, is making a stop and routine pit stop, one would assume. They've been chasing the lead 09, the Spirit of Daytona entry, for much of the race. And there's what we were talking about there with Weaver and Taze giving chase once again. And that car in second, a punched out Formula One engine, but with the magic of the restrictors, creates incredibly close racing. Welcome back, everybody, to Homestead-Miami Speedway, and there is Weaver, there is the lap car, and right behind that car is Didier Taze. That is the gap between first and second, and these two Davids continue to put on not only a great race, but at a very quick pace.
Very good slip right through this field, handling that lap traffic. Dave Weaver just a momentary advantage there. The light's now starting to reflect off the wall. The crowd covers up just a little bit, temperature down. James Weaver must be starting to get pretty tired as Didier Taze continues to exert that terrific pressure in the second place Doran Lister Judd V10 engine car.
Oh, and Taze gets caught out by traffic right there. That's going to hurt. If you can get by him on the straight, that's nice, but he got held up even a second or two, and that's exactly what Weaver would like to see. There's a good look at our class summary as we look down through the field, and we understand the number 74 in Formex entries in the pit, Sandy.
This will be a routine stop here for the number 74 cars. We see the driver change, Jack Baldwin getting out, Irv Hare getting ready to get in. They'll be changing tires and taking on fuel. No other problems, according to the team manager, Jim Frazier. He says it's all about fuel economy at this point. The strategy was keep them out there as long as possible.
Oh, with Baldwin behind the wheel, that's pretty easy. I don't think anybody loves their racing more than Jack Baldwin. Look at the number 80 machine in the pits as well, as John Morton's going to turn over to Mike Schrom. Routine stop as well. Talking about that car right there, the Informix team. Informix has really jumped on board Grand American Road Racing. They're now sponsoring the Informix Way Fast Award for the pole qualifier. Of course, Mauro Baldi claiming it in this race. So Informix really taking Grand American Road Racing to heart at this stage of the season, and that's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely, it's great to see more and more sponsors coming aboard road racing in particular.
So Irv Hare now behind the controls of that beautiful number 74 Informix and 74 Hunting Ranch entry as he heads back out onto the track, again running well into the top 5 for most of the race. And of course Jack Baldwin, who did that Ironman long stint at the beginning, taking a bit of a breather down in pit lane as Hare heads out on the track, and Sandy Hang has found Jack. Sandy?
It looks like you barely broke a sweat out there. Action Jack Baldwin here.
Hey, you know, there's nothing I like more than racing. Except for my two daughters, Erica and Allison. Way to go in that third place in gymnastics, Allison. Super job.
Looks like the car was handling very well for you. No other changes than fuel and tires for Irv Hare getting in the car. How was the track out there?
Well, the track seems like it's actually getting a little better. We need to be a little faster on full tanks. We need to work on it a little bit more, but car's pretty solid. You know, we're just running hard, and you know, traffic's traffic.
Ever the diplomat, Jack Baldwin.
That's not what he meant at all.
And of course, you know, I have to mention Baldwin lives in Atlanta, Georgia. There's plenty of the southern heat there, so I suppose a little more comfortable for him to be able to stay in that car for the stint. You made an interesting comment about the track getting better. With that rain this morning, it greened the track up. Maybe more tire rubber getting down, the car's looking better.
Into the pits comes James Weaver, so Didier Taze takes the lead there around the outside of turns 10 11, and this is what's the most frustrating thing now. Look at that speed limit. So slow down the pits.
Weaver is obviously ready for the stop, already loosening up the harnesses to be ready for John Paul Jr. to jump in. The car making its way down into pit lane. John Visignano is standing by. There's John Paul. John, coming at you.
James Weaver comes into the stopping area. John Paul Jr. up into the cockpit. Very quick, the car up in the air. The Dyson team practiced this for hours and hours and hours to get everything right. He came into the pits with only 0.8 of a second lead. Every second in this pit stop is absolutely crucial. All 4 tires have been changed. The fuel right now is the slowest thing flowing, and it looks like they might be having a little bit of problem, a little bit of struggle with the belts. John Paul Jr. in the car. They are ready to get out of here, guys.
Car's down off the jacks, a little slow getting away for John Paul. There he goes. And even with the little problem with the belts, David, a fairly quick driver change came into green. Previous stop for Baldi and Taze. That was the yellow.
That was what gave them a lot of help. These guys were hoping to pull out a big lead with James staying in after that quick stop they made to just retire it and refuel it with James staying in, but he never pulled out the lead that he was hoping to get on it.
John Paul Jr., as he mentioned in our Dyson feature, been with this team a while, knows these cars. He'll be up to speed very quickly. But it was James Weaver who did that long double opening stint, and after a quick drink, he's caught up with John Bisignano.
James Weaver, what a terrific run in the Dyson, but that Ferrari is flying.
It is. I mean, it's a great race. I think they've got a little bit more horsepower than us, but the Goodyear tyres put down the power a lot better, so I can get off the slow corners quicker. So over on a lap, we're pretty evenly matched.
Are there any problems with your car whatsoever in these closing stages?
Oh, don't say that. No, it's going like a train, flying.
Racer superstition coming to play. Do not jinx the run we're having.
Do not mess the bad eye.
So John Paul Jr. now has his work cut out to catch the flying Didier Tays here at Homestead. And welcome back to the Nextel 250, round 3 of the Grand American Road Racing Championship. We had a full course caution while we were in break at the number 66 GTU Porsche being driven by Philip Collin. Got into the wall a little bit, some debris got onto the track, fairly quick cleanup. And as you can see, lights already out on the pace car. Didier Tays and the Duran Judd, sponsored by Lista, is going to bring him around. And you can see right there is John Paul Jr., so it's that close. We're green. And John Paul, along with, I think that's Irv Hare, wasting no time, David, getting around all the traffic in front. We've got a great battle for the lead.
That, of course, is a bad break for Didier Tays because when they changed and put John Paul in the lead car earlier on, they had a longish, well, not longish, but a long stop under green. And John Paul had almost a lap lead. Of course, is now all evaporated. Still makes good racing in there. Right behind them both is Irv Hare. Ooh, traffic jam down here at turn 6.
Big traffic jam, and there's your battle in the American GT category. The 09 Daytona Mitsubishi Cat Country Camaro. Doug Goad now driving and getting a lot of pressure from the number 18 Levy Racing Enterprises Chevy Camaro. Mike Cohen started that car. John Levy scheduled to get on board, and it is very close indeed. Traffic has hurt the Levy car.
Right in the middle of that, too, is the 66 and the 80 car, battling it out for the honors in the GTU class. The 66 car having got back on the track after that wall banging issue. Yeah.
Oh, very close indeed. There's number 81, Darren Law, and there's the 66. You can see the damage to the right rear corner of that car. Fortunately for them, it didn't get into any of the internals inside, David, and I think that was why they were able to do such a quick stop. But there comes the number 18 Levy Racing Enterprises Camaro. There's the leader, 09. It's that close. There he is. There's the margin. The white car and then the yellow Camaro sits in second.
Getting mixed up there with sports racers and sports racer 2 class cars. Look at this now, this tremendous battle for the All-American GT lead. The 09 and the 18 absolutely tied together there by a short piece of string as they whistle into that turn 2, 3, and 4 complex.
Goad and Levy very close. There's your leader in GTU. They're all very close. And look at this move down to the inside. And Levy just found the opportunity, wasted no time. But look at Goad fight back. And he looks like Levy's going to trap behind the slower car.
And Levy's got the line as they come into 6.
That was not only an opportunistic pass, but a smart one.
But Levy now being slightly held up by the 52 car as they came off that corner. 52 car lying third in GTU at the moment.
And Goad tries to counter pass, but David, here's the original pass.
Down the inside here to turn 4. So Levy gets the pass there on Goad. But as they come up to 5, which is a left-hander, Goad is now on line. So.
But it looks as though Levy was able to maintain the advantage and, in fact, stretch it out a little bit. There's the class summary in that category. Number 84 Comer Racing and Orion Motorsports, 3rd and 4th. Back up front, there is Tays. There is John Paul Jr. And not too far adrift to them in the Berkeley Consulting, Lola Ford now is Scott Schubot. Having a pretty solid run. Good look at John Paul Jr. He spent quite a bit of time, as he mentioned, with Dyson Racing. He really found a home there.
Well, look, he said he's been there for 10 years, and a lot of people have been there longer than him. James Weaver, I would have said, has been driving there at least 10 years.
Yeah, he and Dyson have had a great relationship for a number of years. And one thing when you talk to Weaver, Tays sweeping around a clump of 3 GTU category cars, and I think those are the cars that are in the battle.
They're all dicing for the lead themselves, so they aren't going to give him a lot of track room.
We continue to watch Tays, but we were talking about Weaver and the fact that Weaver says he loved it when he was racing the McLaren GT1 GT cars over in Europe. He loved to come over here and race these cars. He said these were proper race cars, and he said there is no feel in a race car like a world sports car or a sports racer, if you will. He said they are really fun to drive. There is that battle. Darren Law, number 81 now, has got to the front. That's how close this has been in the Pure Image California Entertainment Porsche. There is the number 52 BMW, the Safina Racing e-Travel Serve entry. And that's 1, 2, 3 in class. And look at Irv Hare threading the needle.
Weaving his way through as he's coming up to that turn 8 now. And they're not going to give him any room, you see, because that 52 car is breathing right down the neck.
Yeah, I think Irv sensed.
The 66 car.
Looked like Irv sensed that too, didn't he?
That did allow the 81 car just a little bit of leeway there as they all got jumbled up there, coming out onto the high-speed oval.
Now, what's that damage to the right rear corner of the 66 car going to do aerodynamically? Is that a factor?
Well, it's not going to help it, but at this stage of the game, it probably won't. It's one of those things, if you were practicing and qualifying, you're looking for every tenth of a second. When it comes down to actually losing it out on the track, a lot of other things come into play.
The GTU battle at the front, one of the best. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and the problematic day continues for the number 20 Norcold Thetford Goodyear Dyson car of David Bernard. He got back in after turning it over to EFR, and a lot of smoke from the back of that machine.
Yeah, I wonder if that's residue of that off he had earlier on, where all that gravel got in there. It could be. Maybe not. Maybe just had some sort of engine expiration, or of course an oil line off or something, but putting it in alongside the lake there, so their day is done.
That is a huge pass right there. Number 81, Darren Law, in that yellow and white Porsche, was up by a full lap on the number 66 Racers Group entry and the number 52 entry. That's the Safina Racing entry, currently driven by Scooter Gable. And if he's able to get by, that puts the second and third place machines in the GTU division back on the lead lap. And then, of course, the praying, the rosary beads fondling for the caution comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say they're a lap behind and time's running out now, but still in all, the 81 Darren Law has obviously decided that discretion is the better part of valor here, and no good getting involved in a huge battle for the lead with those other two guys when he's already a lap up. So he's been just pretty cool there, I'd say, and he'll just follow them around.
Speaking of the lead, we go back to our overall leader, Didier Tays, in that Lista Duran Judd. And we heard James Weaver comment that he thought that car was making a little bit more power, but Weaver was getting out of the corners better. And of course, with the restrictors, everything's supposed to be fairly equal, but that gets back again to the nature of the torque characteristics in the engines.
The nature and the size of the engine. This is a 4-liter V10. Obviously the car of Weaver's 5.5-liter V8. Very different torque curve, very different power curve, very different everything. But of course, the other point that James made out, he's got his Goodyear tires on this, the number 16 car, which he felt had better grip on the low-speed corners and gave him better oomph off the corner. The Doran car here is on Yokohama's tremendous tire battle in this whole series. You've got Yokohama, Pirelli, Michelin, Dunlop, Goodyear. I mean, everybody in the tire world is out there, and everybody's looking for bragging rights.
Well, and currently that's got to go with Yokohama and that team, and a problem. That's Oliver Gavin, who was back in the car after Schubert's middle stint, and the nose has come off. And I don't know exactly how it came off, but a problem, he stopped.
Yes, and look at that gravel and tire pickup that he's picked up there. Wow, it must be still attached, because when he backs up there, it followed him up the road, so it must be hanging on by the headlight cable. So he's going to push it right to the pits now.
Oh, and there's Martin Snow in the Snow Schumacher Racing Sports Racer 2 category. That's one of those Nissan Lolas, and yeah, wonder if the two of them maybe had a brief coming together of some sort.
Neat looking car, that little Lola, I think.
Really?
Very neat looking.
Meanwhile, up front again, Didier Tays, and it's remarkable how quickly this car has come good. When they first put that car together, as you go back and watch Gavin, there's some of the debris left on the track from the side of that car, one would suspect. And he's widening the racing line just a little bit with that sweeping motion right there. You saw the indication. We are full course caution for this incident. And John Bizignano is down in the number 20 pit. John?
David Bernard in the 20 car. Again, more bad luck here in Homestead. The gearbox has finally given up. They've had trouble with it from the very, very start. David Bernard will not make it back to the pits. He's parked it out on the circuit.
So Pat Smith, who we just saw there, is going to be focusing entirely on John Paul's attempts at the front. Meanwhile, continue to watch Gavin trying to bring that car with the nose back into the pits. But there's some of the debris. That's why we're under full course yellow. And some of the cars cycling through that portion of the track. And Gavin's pretty good pace, although he's not doing any good to that tire.
Well, the tire's pretty expendable. It's probably not doing much damage, much good to the bodywork either, where the tire is rubbing on it. But whether it will attach again without those bits that were missing that we saw at the side of the track, I'm not sure. But anyway, he's coming to pit lane now, so he's made almost a full lap with that nose just hanging on. It's extremely lucky the thing hadn't flicked over his head.
Well, up until this incident, that team and the driver combination of Schubot and Gavin had really put on a very impressive run.
Well, Oliver Gavin is a driver to be taken seriously. Very, very fast young driver. You know, the good case in point, he could be in Formula One now. Things have just gone a little bit better for him.
David, there's the battle for second in GTU, but should they be battling? This is a full course yellow, and they're looking mighty racing.
These guys are looking incredibly racy, considering they are under full course caution. I mean, obviously there's no question of having a position change here, so the 52 car can hang on there, but they should be obviously driving caution.
Well, I can understand their urgency in the sense that this is that yellow that we talked about them praying for earlier to get them up and close to the 81. But, I mean, you know, they're getting loose coming off corners and showing the nose inside. That's racing. And I don't know, the stewards might have a few thoughts on this because they are flying.
They certainly are flying for being under full course caution. Here's the reason for the full course caution. Oliver Gavin in the number 8 car. The nose off. It looks like they might be attempting to put him out now without the nose. It's obviously aerodynamic.
Well, they dropped the rear off the jacks, and indeed, there goes Oliver Gavin, sans nose, trying to get to the finish here at. Welcome back, everybody, to the Nextel 250 as we're winding this one down, and it has been a great race up at the front overall in a number of the classes. And in fact, one of the great battles, of course, we've had the overall battle, we've had the GTU battle, but coming up right there, the yellow Camaro, number 18, the Levy Racing Enterprises entry. Right behind it is the 09 Spirit of Daytona entry. Those two cars, same lap. That is an outright battle for that class lead. And with the yellow, of course, those two GTU cars that were running second and third, the 66 entry and the number 52 Safina Racing BMW, have now been able to catch up to the back of the field. It's been good for them, but one has to suspect for the overall leader of the race, and Kevin Doran, not a good time for this yellow.
Kevin Doran, a full course yellow, just one lap after you come in. This has got to be frustrating and a disappointment for your team.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We haven't hit a yellow right now for 3 races, so with the green, we were in good shape. I mean, we were 22 seconds ahead of Dyson. Could have kind of cruised to the end, you know, a little bit. I mean, it's not like you could park it, but now with the yellow, we're going to have a seriously tough race to the end. And as it was, if we had pitted a lap later after the yellow or during the yellow, we could have held Dyson a lap down and could have just been a walk in the park, but that's the way it goes.
There you have it. The race can be won and lost in the pits.
You can see lights out in the pace car, and behind Kevin Doran in the interview, you saw Weaver and Baldy, David, and they were reliving the early part of this race. When you love to drive like they do, that's all it's about.
And it was some pretty spectacular driving put up by both those guys, particularly around here, turns 10 and 11 early on. They just had a tremendous dice there for lap after lap.
Pace car's in. We are coming up to start lap 100 of 104, so we're near the end. It's crucial. And Didier Taze drops the hammer. There's John Paul. A couple of the Sports Racer 2s. There is Irv Hare. Sits in third. The rest of the pack, Taze knows now he's got company much closer than they were earlier.
Absolutely. He knows that company is going to be pressing him very hard with just a few laps left. He swoops through that turn 4 there, that downhill right-hander. There's Oliver Gavin, noseless, still hanging on there pretty good, really holding off Irv Hare in the 74 car.
And, oh, big moment there. Number 18, the Levy Enterprises entry, ran a little wide and wasting no time going right by was Doug Goad.
The Levy car coming up again now as they come down to turn 6, a crucial area. Some slower traffic now. Ooh, an SR2. Did that? They touched the 09 car. Looked a bit like it, the 18.
That was very close. I think that was the hybrid racing Riley and Scott. But
suddenly those cars feel awfully little right alongside one of those great big cars.
That was a huge moment in the American GT category. This time Goad gets forced wide. It looks like the Levy machine is coming at it. Let's take a look at the replay. Oh, and there's a little push.
There's certainly a push. I don't know about a little push. It's quite a push. Oh, bounces off the 99 car, does the 18 car. Oh, that's what slowed the 18 car up. The 99 car pushed him off the road a bit.
Yeah, they bumped pretty hard,
Yeah.
forced him wide. And of course, a driver of Doug Goad's ability is not going to waste any time with that opportunity. And knifed underneath, taking over the spot, but it's not as though he's checking out, although this is going to help if he can get by, but so does he, the 18. Watch for it.
Doug Goad there, both of them in very heavy traffic here. The 18 car just right behind Goad. Goad belching tons of unburnt fuel out there on the overrun into turn 4.
Goad and Levy, the battle for the American GT category. And Levy closing right back up again. Doing a nice job not to let that bump rattle him too much and really mess up his rhythm and his concentration. He's just focusing on getting back into it.
Doug Goad's car too, that engine doesn't look like it's belching out far too much smoke and flame on the overrun, on gear shift and braking like that. It just doesn't seem to me like the pickup's probably real good on that car at the moment.
And behind you see the number 62 Mazda Kudzu from Team Spencer Motorsports. I don't know if that's engine or it's brake lockup, but that car is smoking into the corners very frequently as well. But up front right here, see the tail of the engine, and it doesn't look like Goad's missing too much on power.
No, I guess at the top end is going pretty good, which is what counts for a lot here. Ooh, a GTU car slipping between them there as they come off turn 11.
Levy's going to be
Might
able
just
to
slow Levy up just a little bit, not much.
This turn 1 has been the cause of a lot of moments here as the battle in AGT continues. It's still Doug Goad out front with just a couple laps to go. We'll be right back. Back at Homestead-Miami, the battle in American GT is heating up once again. Levy taking a big run at Goad as they continue to work each other over here for the AGT lead. 2 laps to go up front. It is still Didier Tays leading, and here comes Levy down to the inside, side by side. Through that corner, still side by side, through turn 7, down that long chute down to that very tight turn 8, Dave.
And Doug Goad on the right there has got the inside line for turn 8 as they come up to that tight hairpin turn side by side, and they touch going in there. The Levy car has gone off into the dirt, just missed the gravel trap, locked them all up there. So Doug Goad, with just a couple of laps left, has left the 18 car floundering in the dirt. Can he catch it up? It's going to be unlikely.
Very, very tight indeed. Here is number 27, your overall race leader. That's Didier Tays heading into that same complex of corners as through turn 7. Coming up to take the white flag once he gets around the track. And Tays, as a matter of fact, now on the final lap. And amazingly, he is now alone on the lead lap. A report of a problem for John Paul Jr. And there's the 09 Goad in that incident. He went to the lead, David, but he obviously cut a tire down.
Wow, yes, he sure did cut that down when he banged into the Levy car going into turn 8.
Meanwhile, Tays continues on around, and it's the Robinson entry that has moved up into second, although they were a lap down to Tays and John Paul. Here comes Tays celebrating big time with a huge win. And David, that comes in a car that just a couple months ago was not anything like that. There is John Paul.
Stuck out on the track. We don't know what's wrong with the car, but obviously some system has malfunctioned, leaving, boy, oh boy, John Paul. He didn't have bad luck. He wouldn't have any luck at all.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, Tays continues on his cool down lap. And as I was saying, this car not long ago was a very different machine. And when they first started it out, huge development problems, but under the guidance of Kevin Doran, and some very experienced drivers, this car has come good in a hurry.
Well, it was a major change when they decided to take the Ferrari out and put the Judd V10 engine. They had to work on day and night on that car, and they did it incredibly quickly. Before the Sebring 12 hour it was, and the car really, after some developmental problems, has really come good here at Homestead, running very, very competitively all weekend.
And a big surprise second place, in a matter of speaking, for the Robinson Racing Infomix entry, now in the hands of Irv Hare, as they get second place with John Paul's problems, a lap down, but nonetheless, That's got to be huge in terms of points.
Well, I tell you, 2 weeks ago, Irv Hare was sitting at home, gets a phone call, comes down the very next day, wins the race, and second in the next one. That's not bad, is it? Some old codger sitting at home.
Pretty remarkable performance. Another look at Taze as he gets a big wave from John Paul Jr. Side of the track. Here's the TRP Racing. Nissan Lowell ended up second in the new Sports Racer 2 category. A very strong run for this new program. Gary Tiller finishing up in the car, and the Solutions team sponsorship on that machine. And a good look at that car. A great future in that category. And here Ron Johnson steps in for Terry Borchler at the driver change and brings that Celine Allen machine home with a huge win.
And there's some great looking race cars out there. The GTO class, and of course this one, the Doran Lister with the V10 Judd engine, looking absolutely beautiful on the track. A real race car.
Very fast indeed. Let's give you a look at the full field rundown for the Grand Am Nextel 250. Final standings and the top 6, all of the sports racer category. There's the Archangel Motorsports, number 22. Another win for that team. Larry Oberto and Ryan Hampton doing a superb job. And there's number 81, the G&W Motorsports entry in GTU, taking the win. Darren Law and Mike Fitzgerald having a superb day. And with the damage and stop for the 09 Spirit of Daytona Camaro, number 18, the Levy Racing Camaro, wins American GT. But overall, it was a great run by the Doran Judd, and John Bizignano was with Didier Taze.
Didier Taze, one of your best drives ever, one of the most exciting wins you've had for some time now.
Well, especially for 2 hours and 30 minutes. We had a lot of pressure every laps, but we managed to control the race at the end, and I was very pleased with the setup the last 45 minutes. And what I have to do is make sure my tires doesn't dissipate on me and stay a good balance, and they work fine, and I could cover John behind me.
Congratulations on a great win and keeping all that competition behind you.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at our drivers' point standings. James Weaver continues to lead. Of course, he got the bonus points for Daytona. Baldwin and Hare tied for second with their strong runs. Kellners and Scattarella tied for 6th spot. Bingham and Simo and John Field still in the mix in 10th. And there's a look at the Informix Software 74 Hunting Ranch entry. And with the win at Phoenix and second place here at Homestead, as we take a look at the owners' point standing, they find themselves in the lead.
A good run there for that Robinson Informix car. There you see the rest of the runners, 6th, 7th in sport, hybrid racing, the Dyson racing team down there.
And when we come back to Homestead-Miami Speedway, we'll visit with more of our class winners. Don't go away. The third round of the Grand American Road Racing Championship from Homestead-Miami Speedway has been brought to you by Acura. Cars are our passion. Engineering is our art. And by Informix Software, your new way to west. In the GTO division, even with this spin, Terry Borchler and Ron Johnson were able to bring that new Celine Allen BASF Home Improvement Mustang into victory circle first. A great accomplishment, and with Terry Borchler, John Bizignano.
Terry Borchler, you almost made it look easy.
Well, I don't know about that. It was pretty hot in the first run. I started the car and then got in at the end. The plan was to do a double at the beginning, and with the yellows and that, we kind of changed the strategy. But the track was really hard at the beginning. With the rain early this morning, it really changed the track. But the guys did a great job because the car came to us at the end of the race, and the track came to us, and it was a good finish for the Celine Ford.
That Celine Mustang can just about adapt to anything.
As has been proven in these last 2 rounds, undefeated, and Borchler and Johnson, as a result, the teammates lead the points. Montgomery third, and then Rodenroth and Simon Gregg tied for 4th in the point standings in the GTO division, in a division that is coming along handily. There is a look at the winner in GTU. Darren Law, of course, co-driving with Mike Fitzgerald. Darren Law, who made his name in super touring racing, adapting well to GTU, and he is now down in victory circle.
Darren Law, you definitely found the setup on this beautiful Porsche.
Yeah, we did. I need to thank G&W Motorsports for all the work they've done. They've done a lot of work. Car's great. Dunlops, they lasted the whole race, which is what we needed to get by with this. And I need to thank my co-driver, Mike Fitzgerald. Did a great start. I just had to hold it together in the end.
What about that start, Mike?
It went real well. Everything pretty much went according to plan all day. We had no problems. One clean pit stop under yellow. The G&W guys did great, and the Dunlop tires were spectacular the whole day.
Well, the car 81 came out on top of maybe the most competitive class here, GTU.
Absolutely great drive, and as a result, Fitzgerald now finds himself with a handy lead in the points over Buckler and Collin. Then Darren Law, his teammate, in the 4th spot. Rick Fairbanks in 5th. One of the great battles in this race was in American GT between the 09, the Spirit of Daytona, and the eventual winner, the number 18 entry. And the 2 winning drivers are in victory circle, and Sandy Heng is there. Sandy?
John Levy and Michael Cohn. John, what a fantastic race, trying to keep that 09 car behind you and Doug Goad. Incredible moments. What a battle.
Well, thank you very much. We both drove in real hard to the hairpin, and we tried to outbrake him, and I think he locked him up and kind of skid into my door. And I had a little bit more tire. These BF Goodrich tires really hold up well under heat, and it was hot out there today. So the crew last night, we changed the transmission in the rear end, and to come to victory lane is what it's all about.
And Michael, you kept it in there ready for an opportunity, and then your partner was able to take it.
That's what it's all about. I did what I had to do, and he did what he had to do. We had a lot of grief this weekend. 2 cars, rear end, transmission, motor. Our crew, we just owe a lot to our crew. They were there for the whole thing for us. They rebuilt everything in the cars. 2 cars we went through, and we pulled it off. We did a great job. First time that we did it together.
Yeah.
Michael Cohn and John Levy.
Thank you very much.
Deserve kudos, and a reminder once again, it's a team sport, isn't it? Conway and Goad now leading the points. However, you see Cohn and Levy starting to chip away at it with a big win here at Homestead-Miami. They're now 5th in the American GT driver point standings at this stage. Let's take a look at the owners' points. It's G&W Motorsports in the GT division leading over Genesis Racing, the Celine Allen Speed Lab, the Racers Group tied there. 6th through 10th, G&W Motorsports sort of bookending things here with their 07 entry. Back in the pack just a little bit. There's a look at 37, John Field, but behind him is the winner in the Archangel Motorsports SR2 category with 2 very talented young drivers, Ryan Hampton and Larry Oberto, and they too are now with Sandy.
We're here now with the winners of the Sports Racer 2 category, Larry Oberto, Ryan Hampton. What a drive there at the end. The stop-and-go penalty, you didn't let it get in your way.
No, it's just a matter of, if you get a little bit over the revs and you miss it, it's these things happen, and it's unfortunate, but I made the mistake. I did it myself, so I had to come in, but I wasn't going to let it. I was going to get angry at it. It's a matter of really just staying calm, making sure you just keep your head down, keep driving around. You don't want to make a mistake out there.
And Larry, put it on the pole. You were able to finish in the 1st in your class. Got to be a great feeling.
I feel great, and Ryan did one heck of a job. He's a great teammate. I love having him, and the Archangel crew's great, and we have a crew guy that didn't make it. His mom is sick in the hospital, and so this is a good way to bring it home for him.
A great run, both Oberto and Hampton showing their stuff in F2000 and making their name there. And boy, I'll tell you, 2 consecutive wins, having a great season so far. Snow, Hayner, and Sherman Tiller round out the top 5 in points. And David, once again, another superb race in the Grand American Road Racing Championship here at Homestead-Miami.
Absolutely, right through the classes. GTU is a battle from beginning to end. GTO is a bit of a breeze for the number 5 car. Terrific battle for the lead there between that Doran car and, of course, the Weaver in the number 16 car.
And in GTU, throughout the field, the racing was absolutely spectacular. Now, you can watch more of this type of racing. Round 4 of the Grand Am Championship will be live Memorial Day Monday from Lime Rock. For David Hobbs, John Bizignano, and Sandy Heng, I'm Greg Kramer. Thanks so much for joining us here at Homestead-Miami. See you next time.